Okay, I'm gonna see if this is working. I had some audio hiccups yesterday, and if you are catching this, if you see me, please let me know that you can. Can you hear me? Right. There's a lot of background noise, but I had my headphones on yesterday, and I'm wondering if that was the source of my tech issues. Okay, I'm gonna get going and hopefully, let's see, hopefully it's working. I probably should just ask someone to hop on and make sure my sound is working. Okay, it looks like it's working. Hopefully there's not too much background noise. I'm gonna get started and maybe I'll be blessed to re-record this again today like I got to yesterday. So it's a no for me. It makes me laugh. I wanted to talk about saying no. And more specifically, saying no to something, that was loud, saying no to something that we've already said yes to. So this has come up a couple times this week with, oh, Shar, mwah, thank you, I appreciate that. And she just let me know that my sound was working. People can hear me. So powerfully saying no. And specifically, like I said, saying no to something we've already said yes to. So this has come up this past week a couple times with some of the coaches that I'm working with, and that they committed to doing something. And there was a lot of, I'll call it like a turmoil inside of them because they said yes to something that they want to do and they're actually not fully committed to doing it. And so what happens is when we say yes and we're not committed, there's a lot that happens. We feel overwhelmed, we feel frustrated, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So we can't, like, there's like that cognitive dissonance where like our minds are doing one thing but our bodies are feeling something different and they're not in alignment. And in having conversations with these women, it was very much the story that they didn't want to say no to something that they committed to doing. And so it's really got me thinking about that, and how do we really view quitting interesting in our society. So I noticed it when I left my marriage because I had this story like, I can't quit my marriage, I can't quit my marriage, I have to work on it and I have to push through and power through it. And there was a point where it was no longer working. It wasn't, there's a lot of points where it wasn't working, but it wasn't working. It didn't serve either anyone in my family. So it was time for me to move on. And it was really hard because I have, what stops us from saying no is, worrying about what other people think, or have like wanting to look good, look like we've got it all together, look like we can handle it all. And sometimes powerfully saying no to something, even if it's something we want in the moment, works out in the long run. So today, as we look at our full plates, and I just want to pause for a moment and not to confuse this with saying no because it's uncomfortable. And I'm clear it can be a super fine line. So feeling discomfort and stretchiness and stepping into something versus being out of alignment to moving forward with something that is just absolutely not serving you anymore. Okay, so how do you actually know? How do you actually say no to something that, I can't tell if it's loud for you. Hopefully, I'm going to rewatch this. Hopefully it's not, the sound is pretty good. So how do you, as you're already said yes to something, now how do you powerfully say no to something? And my first invitation to you is to really be decisive, because a lot of times, at least in my experience, you're sitting with it, and energy of sitting in this maybe and on the fence and yes and no, and that energy is really the actual discomfort you're feeling. It's truly less about you saying no and way more about you saying, being in that discomfort of that energy of not knowing what to do. And I'm using air quotes because that goes to my next point, which almost flew away. Thanks, Shar. Okay, Shar, I love you. You're hooking me up with my volume today. I appreciate you. So when we're okay, like let's be decisive. When we're noticing that we're in this indecisive energy of, well, like I don't really want to, make a decision, because the energy in that space is what's causing the most discomfort or cognitive dissonance inside of you. So wow, that sounds really great, but the whole point, Jessica, is like, I can't make a decision. Like, how do I be decisive? And my invitation for you is to just make a decision, because it's not wrong. Whatever decision you make is the right decision. So trust yourself and the intuitive hit that comes up for you, because we sit in a lot of indecision, and it's almost like when you say yes to the thing, whatever the thing is, and you're not fully committed, you're saying no anyway, because you're not committed to it, so you're not showing up for it, so you're not showing up for yourself. So instead of being in the decisive yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and I mean, I'll do a Facebook Live, in a few weeks that says be in the question, because there's some value there. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about having said yes to something, feeling this distance between the thing you're saying yes to, wanting to say no, but instead just being like wishy-washy, I'll say. So say no, be decisive, trust yourself, because there's something coming up and you get to ask, like, am I just uncomfortable? Or does this no longer serve me? Is it out of alignment for me? And pick one and then take action, move forward. That's it. Say no. Powerfully choose no. I'm a no on this one. I'm a no here. And it's a hell no, right? So if it's not a hell yes, then that could be a really powerful indicator for you that it is actually a hell no. Trust yourself. There is no wrong steps. And, something that you might want to consider, because often, this might not be the case, but most of the time, we are saying yes, or let me just rephrase that. We're not saying no, or we're not powerfully choosing no, because we have a story about what other people are going to think, but I made a commitment, but I already committed to this. But you're not actually committed to it, because you're in this wishy-washy space. So it's actually not even a commitment at all. So what would it look like to really be committed to this? And then, so if I'm worrying about what other people think, if I'm worried about how I'm going to look, if I say no, then it can really look like an inauthentic yes. And in that case, I'm getting a FaceTime on my computer. And in that case, it's truly you just getting to have 10 seconds to be brave and just to say, no, this isn't serving me. Or you could always just say no with a period on the end of it. You don't need an explanation. I think that's another trick that we get into. And when we're saying no, it's actually not super powerful if we're explaining it away. No, well, this and that, and this is what's happening, and this is what's coming up for me. And you can certainly explain it, and there's no judgment. But my invitation would be like, no, I'm a no on this one. Thank you for asking. Moving forward, those sorts of things. So I really hope this was supportive. I really am excited for you to start saying no more. And when you're saying yes to all of the things that is actually not serving you, right? Okay. I hope you're having an amazing day. And I hope that if you have any questions, or you're like, I can't sort this out, I need some support in creating a hell no, then send me a message. Like, I love it. Let me support you in getting some clarity. And that way you can create more space for what actually lights you up. Okay. We'll chat soon. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.